Barbarian is a 3D fighting game featuring 11 different fighters, each with different weapons and abilities. The game plays much like Dreamcast's Power Stone with its arena-style gameplay. The game takes place in Barbaria, where a dark and evil force, created by the wizard Zog, have swept over the land. The player must choose from a roster of champions, all with their own reasons to hate Zog, to destroy the wizard and prove themselves the hero of prophecy. The player may freely destroy the environment, and use destroyed objects as weapons against their opponents. The characters each have alternate costumes, which, depending on which the player chooses, may change their default weapon. However, it does not affect the weapon's damage capabilities or uses. After a fight, players can update their characters, raising their attributes like life, strength, damage dealt or magic regeneration time, and also unlock special abilities like double jumps or berserker mode. The Japanese version was released as Warrior Blade: Roston vs Barbarian. The game received mixed reviews on all platforms according to Metacritic. Many video game websites and publications gave earlier reviews and average scores on the GameCube and Xbox versions in late 2002, months before the release dates for both of those versions were cancelled in the US due to mediocre reception for the PS2 version.
Battle Assault 3 featuring Gundam Seed.
Battle Assault 3 featuring Gundam Seed is a 3D fighting game, the sequel to Gundam Battle Assault 1 and 2 for PlayStation, and the fifth game in the Battle Assault series. The games are based on the Gundam franchise and features mobile suits from several eras of the Gundam metaverse. Battle Assault 3 focuses on units from the Gundam Seed anime. The game was the first in the series to feature full 3D graphics. As such, characters are able to freely move around the battlefield. Interaction with the battlefield is also possible by knocking each other into obstacles such as buildings, and may even pick up and throw objects at one another, as well as weapons. Players can choose from 25 different mobile suits, including unlockable suits from Gundam Wing and G Gundam. Each mobile suit has 3 types of basic attacks: light, strong, and ranged. Flight and ranged attacks both consume the energy gauge, and quick recovery consumes it entirely. Inputting certain commands can allow for special attacks as well as devastating super attacks, though players only have 3 super attacks per round. They can also expend a super attack to activate the mobile suit's special ability to enhance their combat ability, which can come in various forms such as ranged attack buffers, or even transforming the mobile suit itself. Instead of going for 3 rounds, a player has a large health bar which is dependent on what the suit is. Gameplay modes includes missions, versus, tag mode, and a cooperative combat. The game was not well received by critics on release.
Battle Stadium D.O.N.
Battle Stadium D.O.N is a Japanese crossover fighting game for the GameCube and PlayStation 2. The D.O.N in the game's title is derived from Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto, the 3 manga series published by Weekly Shonen Jump, upon which the game is based. Similar to the Super Smash Bros. Series, up to 4 players, on multi-tap, battle on one of 11 dynamic stages in battles based around free-roaming 2-dimensional character movement. Unlike other fighting games, D.O.N uses a tug-of-war fighting system. Attacking opponents will knock glowing orbs out of them for players to collect, with a bar at the top of the screen indicating what percentage of the orbs in play each character possesses. The size and value of these orbs vary depending on the strength of the attack used. Players who collect the majority of the orbs will enter burst mode, dramatically increasing their speed and attack power. To win a fight, a player must either collect all of the orbs in play, leaving their opponents with none, or possess the highest percentage of orbs when time runs out. As such, a fight can potentially last indefinitely if no time limit is set. Items will also spawn during battle, which can be used to attack opponents or induce positive and negative status effects. The game features a total of 20 playable characters, 12 of which are available from the start. Each fighter has their own fighting techniques including special attacks. The single-player mode has the player fight through 5 rounds, some of which have missions with randomly selected goals. The higher the difficulty chosen by the player, the more missions are given out. Fulfilling these missions goals rewards the player with coins that can be used in a slot machine upon defeating the boss character, allowing players to potentially unlock characters, stages, and other bonuses. Both GameCube and PS2 versions received a rating of 26 out of 40 from Weekly Famsu.
BCV! Battle Construction Vehicles!
BCV Battle Construction Vehicles, known in Japan as Kinsetsu Juki Kinkabatoru, Ukijira Kongu, is a non-traditional fighting game where the player must battle in various construction vehicles. The story in this game revolves around the player settling construction site contracts through vehicular combat with various rival companies over the course of 16 levels. The story is furthered through anime-like cutscenes. Players choose between 15 drivers and 14 bulldozers, steamrollers, cranes and forklifts, among others. Additional characters can be unlocked by playing the story. The player can fully customize the vehicle's parts, attack moves and appearance, which adds to the replay value of the story mode. Most of the attacks consist of ramming other vehicles or utilizing the mechanical parts that do damage upon impact. The European release notably gives the characters English accents. The game was one of the first PlayStation 2 titles to be released in DVD-ROM format, rather than CD-ROM as most early PS2 titles were. Bleach, Blade Battlers is a fighting game based on the manga and anime Bleach by Tite Kubo. The player can choose between 23 characters from the series. As with most other fighting games, the idea is to fight the opposing character, or characters in the free-for-all mode, until their health is fully depleted. Players can use their character's special abilities taken from the series, such as Ichigo Kurosaki's ability to unlock his Bankai state, or Rukia Kuchiki's control over ice. Some of these abilities may alter the arena, such as Rukia's Zanpakuto causing the battlefield to become covered in ice, and making other players slide around. In some cases, some of the characters can use other characters' weapons. The game also includes destructible environments. The game features extensive battle modes, where the players can unlock characters after beating all of the challenges. Some missions have players to perform under certain circumstances, like a time limit. There is also a bonus section where the players can view character models and extras.
Bleach, Blade Battlers, Second.
The sequel to Bleach Blade Battlers allows the player to fight against up to 3 enemies at the same time on an extensive, full 3D map. In this game, specials attacks have been changed into special forms, resulting in the altering of area obstacles such as random attacks from summonings, shifting the area, among others. With a diversified selection, the player can create their own battle approach, tactics and different fighting styles. After the player completes different challenges, characters are unlocked. Up to 36 playable characters are available. Local multiplayer is also possible. The second player takes control of one of the 3 remaining characters, and fight in co-op or against the first player. The sequel also features a bonus section where the players can view character models and extras.
Bloody Roar 3.
Bloody Roar 3 is a 3D fighting game originally released for arcades on the PS2-based Namco System 246 hardware. The sequel to Bloody Roar 2, released in 1999 for PlayStation, features higher quality graphics and new gameplay mechanics. The game includes 12 gameplay modes, including Arcade, Versus, Practice, Survival, and 8 gameplay modes that can only be played once the player unlocks them. The same gameplay style created in the 2 previous games continues here, where the character has the ability to morph into a beast during play, to inflict more damage and combos on the enemy. However, each arena in the game now has breakable landscapes in the style of Dead or Alive 2. The game includes 12 playable fighters from the start, and 2 unlockable fighters. The PlayStation 2 version received above average reviews according to Metacritic. GamePro's Major Mike said,
"The PS2 has been barren of a fighting game since launch, and while Bloody Roar 3 is a refreshing change of pace, it doesn't offer anything that wasn't featured in its first 2 incarnations. Newcomers will be pleased, but for rabid fans, this is a mute roar."
In Japan, FAMSA gave it a score of 29 out of 40. An enhanced version, titled Bloody Roar Primal Fury, also known as Bloody Roar Extreme, was later released for the GameCube and Xbox. Bloody Roar 4 is the last title in the series, and is once again a full 3D fighting game featuring the series' trademark transformation abilities. Unlike previous titles in the series, the Beast Gauge now acts as its own health bar. If a character's health gauge is depleted, they will automatically transform. The game features 18 playable fighters in a variety of game modes, including Standard Arcade, Versus, Time Attack, Training, and Survival modes. In Career mode, fighting battles will earn DNA points, which can be spent on abilities and equipment to customize a character for use in other modes. Bloody Roar 4 has received average reviews from critics, with GameRankings assigning a score of 60%. GamePro said of the game,
"While Bloody Roar 4 might not challenge for the best fighting game crown, it does offer extremulicious action.
Colosseum, Road to Freedom, released as Gladiator, Road to Freedom in Japan, is a hybrid fighting role-playing video game loosely based on the Roman Empire around the time of the Emperor Commodus. The game has the player take on the role of a slave that must partake gladiatorial games in order to earn enough money to purchase his freedom. The majority of the game is spent training the player's character and fighting in arena battles. The story takes a backseat in order to allow a higher degree of open-ended gameplay. Players have the freedom to tailor their game avatar to their liking, depending on how they answer questions prior to gameplay. Before entering the arena, players can participate in training sessions, allowing them to improve their skills. Depending on the player's performance, it is possible to pay off the character's debts and still remain a freeman gladiator. The game allows for multiple endings depending on the player's performance over its course. The game received mixed reviews according to Metacritic. In Japan, FAMSA gave it a score of 31 out of 40. In 2005, Urton and Koei released Gladiator, Road to Freedom Remix, which contains a few updates to the game. The game received 2 sequels, Gladiator Begins in 2010 for PSP, and Clan of Champions in 2011 for Windows and PlayStation 3.